Hi, everyone. It is me, Sailor Earth, Ernest here. And today we're going to talk about, you know, uh, how we got the Sailor Moon game. Now, we got a Sailor Moon game for the Sega Genesis or the Sega Beginning or whatever you want to call it. Now, a lot of folks might think, oh, well, they never ever did make the game, never ever did get freed outside of Dawnland. Well, most likely it did. Or this seller happened to have the one that did get freed out. So, anyway, there only one Sailor Moon game was ever made for the Sega Beginning, because Bandai mostly had to deal with Nintendo for a lot of their games on the over Nintendo, and later on had to deal with Sony for games on the Sony PlayStation. But I do take it back, because by the end of it, there were Sailor Moon games on the Sega Dreamcast, which was the last Sega game player. But that was years later. So this one is the one that I did play back in the day on a website called Games for Win, which was only Sega games. Now you could download the drivers, you could download the game, you could play the game, and when you were done, the drivers were out of your out of your Reckoner, Windows or Macintosh OS or whatever, or Linux, I guess. If you told it to keep the game, it would keep the game, and then you could play it again without going through the website to download it or whatever. Now, keep in mind it was all written in Dawnish, so there was no way to know what did what. You just had to learn as you went by playing it. And how most Reckoners, Windows, Macintosh OS, Linux, Chrome OS, would have a sticky keys setting, which happens if you hit some key too many times. Now, that happened a lot because one key did your strikes, the other key did your walking, the other key did your outstanding strikes, which took might from you. So you chose not to do those games, unless you truly needed to do it. And so you had Windows or Macintosh OS or Linux, or I guess even Chrome OS, because, well, let's be honest, I don't really know if that game would run off of Chrome OS or not. Maybe it would. It would tell you sticky keys, because you had to hit one of those keys over and over again to do your strikes and your outstanding strikes as well. So I played the game many times in the past. Sometimes I'd go with Sailor Moon. Sometimes I'd go with Sailor Mercury or Quicksilver. I'd go with Sailor Mars, Sailor Red World, or Sailor Jupiter, Sailor King World. Or I'd go with Sailor Venus, Sailor Hell World. And I'd go through and I'd play Jedi, or whatever fiend they had, and Nephrite, whatever fiend, or Zoisite, whatever fiend, or Malachite, whatever fiend. Then I'd get the Queen Barrel, and either I'd win or I'd lose, depending to how far I got and how many hits that I took along the way. Now, keep in mind, you really couldn't do much about the smooth settings. You could, because that might have been the only thing that was written into English was that, but that was it. And if you put it on smooth, well, you went through all the worlds, but you didn't fight Queen Metalia. You only fought her if it was on hard setting. Now, a lot of folks out there might think, yeah, a lot of folks might wonder if that website Games for Win are still around. I don't know. I haven't looked them up in years. I don't know if they're still around. I haven't looked them up on Google or Yahoo or Bing or DuckDuckGo or whatever. So I can't, or Edge, so I can't tell your Chrome if they're still around or not. So your guess is good as mine. if they still are or not, or Google, I guess. So anyway, your guess is as good as mine if they're still around or not. But something tells me they're no longer around anymore. Now, getting back to this game, the seller who had this game was from Eastland. And at first it told you would get this game anywhere from the 6th of the 12th month to the 3rd to the 24th of the 12th month. And it got here earlier than what it would tell you. Than what they would say it would be. So that was the last Yule gift that I got this Yule. Yeah, we won't be opening them up until Yule Eve or Yule coming. Some folks open up on Yule Day, some open up on Yule Eve, the Yule coming, one day before. It is Yule. So anyway, it is what it is. I'll just talk about how I got the Sailor Moon game on the Sega beginning. Someone might say, oh, it's a hack. It's a bootleg. Isn't it true? Well, this seller happened to have the game that came out. And if it is a bootleg or a fake or a hack or whatever you want to call it, I won't know until we put it in the game player, the all-in-one game player that plays both Nintendo over Nintendo and Sega beginning games to know if it's a true thing or not. Anyway, I'll see you later. Let me know what you think about that. Me, Sailor Earth, Ernest, and we'll see you later.